Hello, my name is Eva Papiasvili, and I am here to invite you and to introduce you to a Congress panel, which is called IPA Interregional Encyclopaedic Dictionary of Psychoanalysis, IRED for short, Migration and Mutation of Concepts. The panelists are Stefano Bolognini, the chair of IRED, Arne Jemstedt, the co-chair for Europe, Ines Bayona, co-chair for Latin America, and I, Eva Papiasvili, co-chair for North America. This panel will take place on the last day of the Vancouver Congress on August 1st, 2021, at 16 hours of Greenwich Meridian time. Now to the theme. Over the past 7 years of constructing intra-regional drafts and interregional entries for the IPA Interregional Encyclopaedic Dictionary, we have been continuously impressed by the phenomenon which we call migration and mutation of concepts. This theme emerged, as does anything having to do with IRED, in a grassroots way. It then became a central theme of a Saturday discussion at the Consultants and Contributors Luncheon at the London Congress. While at the luncheon, it was mainly self, intersubjectivity, countertransference, enactment, and ego psychology that were brought up as illustrative of various aspects of this process. This had a lot to do with who was in the room, sharing their experiences. In the follow-up conversations and discussions among the four of us panelists, we saw various aspects of such processes connected to virtually every concept we ever wrote for IRED. In our panel presentation and discussion, we will focus on two of those concepts as objects: intersubjectivity and self. We will do this to best exemplify how concepts migrate in between the theoretical, linguistic, and cultural groups, and mutate when crossing the in-between zone. This is most apparent when crossing literally the ocean and arriving in the New World. But it is also perceptible in between psychoanalytic cultures within each continent. How do the concepts cross in between cultures and continents? What happens to them in a new historical cultural milieu? How are they assimilated and appropriated in the new environment? How do they influence this new environment? And what happens when they arrive back? Is there emerging a new psychoanalytical cultural geography in the process of constructing the entries? How much are we discovering old, never-before-seen connections, and how much are we perhaps forging new connections just as we write the entries? These continuous transformations proliferate through time and linguistic cultural spaces in a Nachträglichkeit fashion. They are marked by dialectic tensions and conflict between tradition and innovation, sometimes reflective of and driven by, at least partially, unconscious transferential and countertransferential attitudes, appearing as various enactments of what came to be known as early controversies. For instance, Freud-Ferenczi controversy, controversial discussions a little later on. As we will see during the panel presentation, all concepts of IRED indirectly yet meaningfully participate in the construction of any of them. And yes, this also includes the theme of this Congress, the ever-present unconscious infantile dimension of mental life. In our interregional as opposed to transregional work, we built interactive translational bridges, taking into consideration historical, cultural, and etymological roots of divides, as well as of the enrichment of such mutative proliferations. Thus, on behalf of all four of us, you are most emphatically invited to the panel of the IPA Interregional Encyclopaedic Dictionary of Psychoanalysis as we journey together and explore the generative and sometimes utterly surprising migration and mutation of concepts. Thank you for listening and hope to see you August 1st.